Hey, good morning, guys. So Sydney Gray here with 3 News Now. Just wanted to give you a quick update, show you what's going on, where we are here in Fremont. Now, I have Sergeant Don Elliott with me with the Dodge County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant, can you kind of talk to us about the relief efforts that have been going on this weekend?
Okay. On Saturday, I had several hundred people out here filling sandbags through Gerhold concrete. This effort stopped the water from coming across 275A. At one point in time, it was probably 3 feet higher than what it is right now. It was running really hard going to the south here.
Can you talk to me about the safety hazards that come with so much flood water here?
Yes, as you can tell, like back here, there's a lot of debris that's still sitting on the roadway once the water comes down a little bit. And then the other thing is that the water saturates the ground and it gets underneath the concrete and starts weakening it, and then you'll start getting sinkholes that form. So you can't see those sometimes if there's still water going across the highway, and you'll drive right into a sinkhole, or you drive over debris and get stuck in there, and then you could get swept in by rapid moving waters. So.
Right. Now, I know you guys have been telling people all the time, turn around, don't drown, don't drive, but even this morning we still saw people trying to drive through that flood water. How difficult does that make, what you guys have to do?
It makes it a lot more difficult because it kind of diverts our attention from trying to watch the flood and try to make sure that no breaches take place and stuff, and then we have to keep focusing on people that are seeing. I mean, it's people want to see what's going on, and being stranded in town, there's not much else to do. So, but it does. I mean, it just takes away from our attention from focusing on other things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to move around a little bit. Now I'm going to ask that you come with me, Sergeant, and I want you to kind of tell me a little bit about this roadway over here. So what's going on here? What happened over here? Okay,
this is Downing Street, and it goes to the west here and then kind of curves back to the north a little bit before it goes west again over on the other side of the train. What happened is the water came in from down there, and right about where the curve is on the other side of the train, it split and it filled this big area you can see in front of us right here. That looks like a lake, and it filled that up first, and it took pretty much most of the night to get it that full, and then it started to come across the road right there where that little cascade is.
Yeah.
And then it also started to seep through the railroad tracks, and that was all like during my shift. By the time I got off, it would have been Saturday morning, and when I came back that night, they had put all these bags up, and it was rushing through this area over top of where that broken concrete. You couldn't even tell that the concrete was broken at that point. And then it was all rushing down between here and the railroad tracks to the south.
Wow. So in all your years of being in Dodge County, have you seen anything this severe in a while?
No, never. I've been here 21 years, and it's never come into town like this. It usually will flood like every 3 to 5 years on this real south edges, right, like in the river bottom itself. But it's just down in that area. It's never come up into town.
Okay. Now, can we talk about, I'm not sure if this was just for the city of Fremont, or was it a Dodge County evacuation, the voluntary evacuation notice? Was that for everywhere, just Fremont?
No, there was a few communities. Over in North Bend there was, and the city of Winslow, and then Fremont.
Okay. And why are those necessary? A lot of people don't want to leave their home. They think that they can get through this. Why is that necessary sometimes?
Once you get into that high water, you could have debris and stuff hit your house. We had at least one account where the foundation was starting to cave in because of it's weakening, because the water has so much force, and it just turns into the ground and stuff. And then once the water's all there, like your electricity goes out, water, all that stuff. So you have whatever supplies you have in your house is what you have, and when those are gone, you don't have anything else. And then it gets to a point sometimes where it's too dangerous for the rescuers to go in and try to rescue you.
Right.
And so that's why we tell people, when it's a mandatory evacuation, if you choose to stay, I mean, we may or may not be able to come in.
Kind of at your own risk.
Yep.
So I know you guys have the command center set up at the police station, correct? Can you kind of tell me who is there, what are you guys doing, and what's the plan for today?
That part I probably don't know a whole lot about.
No worries.
I know there's like the NEMA, the Nebraska Emergency Management is in there. The National Guard's in there.
Okay.
Red Cross, Sheriff's Office, Police Station, the Fire Department, and pretty much all the trying to think, Civil Air Patrol, and so they're all in there. I'm not sure exactly what their game plan is today. I think,
figuring that stuff out.
yeah, and
Okay.
they're still working on some, like the breach over by the state lakes, I think is still open, because that one was the one they couldn't get to because the water was too high. And so now, but there's some heavy equipment in there now, so I think they're trying to get that shut off. That's the reason there's still so much water in this area, is water's still coming into the city
Right.
from that area.
So lastly for me, earlier this morning I told you we were over on the Broad Street
Yes.
viaduct. So can you kind of tell us why an area like that could be so dangerous when people are going up that bridge and then, they closed it earlier?
Yeah, because once you get up there, there's no place to turn around on it because it has a raised cement median in the center. And then you start going down the street, and there's still several feet of 2 to 3 feet of water on that street. And you have no idea if the road's still underneath you or if there's debris that's washed up there, because there's all kinds of debris coming down. There's trees and barricades. Just anything that it picks up, it's going to drag along with it, and you don't know where it's going to stop. And then once you get stuck down in there, people might not even know you're down there if no one knows where you're at, and you can't call anybody. So,
Right.
and then the force, I mean, it's slowed down a lot right here, but there's still areas where it's still flowing pretty good.
Okay.
And that's always a danger, you get outside of your vehicle or something.
Yeah. So any last advice you can give anyone who is still in Fremont right now? What should they be doing? What safety precautions should they be taking?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just have a lot of patience and just understand it's going to take a lot of time for things to get cleared up and for roads to get opened, and just try to stay out of the way of rescuers and try to stay out of the closed areas, and please don't drive around barricades. So we have lots of people that still do that too. They just drive around the barricades and try to drive through the water. But that's the biggest thing. Don't drive through water, flowing water, standing water. Just don't
Not
do
worth
it.
it.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Well, Sergeant Elliott, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. So we'll have more updates for you. Again, I just wanted to stress that right now we are in Fremont, where a roadway did break over the weekend. That is over on Downing Street and Old Highway 275. And again, this morning we were in several different areas. We were over by the Broad Street viaduct, and this morning we saw people trying to kind of make their way around those barricades, and police have blocked those areas off for a reason. They don't want you guys going through that. And so one thing that you just need to remember is that always just take precaution when you are driving, when you are going through flood water and things like that. So we'll have more updates for you throughout the day and on Facebook as well. So just make sure you stick with us on 3 News Now. Reporting live in Fremont, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now this morning.